He said, anyone that loves his father, mother, wife, or than me cannot be my disciple. Who is a disciple? A disciple is a personal follower of a leader. In those days, Jesus had a disciple. The Pharisees, the Sadducees, all of them have their own disciple. Even to today. And we see the pastors and the prophet as a solution provider. And when the solution does not come their own way, we say the pastor has no power. We say the church has no power. The church, the power of the church does not belong to the building or to the shares. It belongs to Jesus. When you don't please Jesus and you want me to do miracle in your life, how will I do it? Disciple is the one that believes in the teaching of a leader, the life of a leader, the belief of a leader, and ready to die for it. That's a disciple. Disciple is not somebody looking for only solutions. And when things don't go your own way, you move somewhere else. And that's why many Christians move from church to church, mountain to mountain, and yet no solution. And that's why many of you are being scammed. And you will now turn back and say they are fake prophets. If there is no fake member, there can be fake prophet. There are 4 things that distinguish the disciples. Number 1, disciple imitate the leader. Imitate what? If you watch major churches, anyone close to the head, you see them begin to speak like the head. They begin to dress like the head. They begin to behave like the head. If you watch it, even when they minister, you will think that the leader is ministering because they are so close to him. That is exactly what Christ expected from disciples. The book of Acts, chapter 11, verse 26. And when he had found him, they brought him unto Antioch. And it came to pass that a whole year they assembled themselves with the church. And mark this, I will emphasize more, and taught most people. And taught most people. And the disciples were called Christians first in Antioch. Because when they see them behaving like Jesus, talking like Jesus, teaching like Jesus, laughing like Jesus, giving like Jesus, praying like Jesus, doing everything like Jesus, forgiving like Jesus, serving others like Jesus. And they call them Christian men, Christ follower, not a religion. Number 2, disciples are dedicated to the leader's belief. Dedicated to the leaders. The disciples of the Bible were dedicated to Christ's teaching. Number 3, commitments to the leader's teaching. It is one thing to dedicate yourself to somebody's belief, and another thing to dedicate yourself to his teaching. Are the teaching of Jesus influencing you? Do they influence your thinking? Do they influence your thought, your imagination? Do they influence your attitude? Do they influence the way you act in public or in private? Does the teaching of Christ influence you to forgive and forget? And to move on and to serve unreservedly without thinking of reward? Number 4, disciples propagate the leader's message. In whatever way you know, by whatever method you know, not only what you are taught in the church, by whatever means you have, you propagate the teachings, the message, the belief of the leader. By whatever means, your testimony, your encounter with Jesus, the goodness of Christ in your life, his testimony in your life is enough for you to witness. Not until you are a Bible graduate. Many of us behave as if this life is permanent. If people can lay down their life to die for their country, carry gun, go to war battle. You confess Jesus every day. Nothing changes. We are so selfish in our desires. We don't even think that anything can happen, we can die. Acts chapter 18. Remember in that Acts that we read, 11:26, they taught most people. So I will lay more emphasis on teaching tonight. Teaching, the kind of teaching that disciples receive. It is sound teaching that make men profitable disciples. Acts 11 verse 26. And when he had found him, okay, the same place, he brought him unto Antioch, and it came to pass the whole year, they assembled, not for selfish desires. They assembled with the church and taught much people. For 1 year, teaching. 1 year teaching. 2 Peter chapter 1 verse 5. And beside this, giving all diligence. Look at it. Giving all diligence. Add to your faith virtue, and to virtue knowledge. Yoruba says what? You know, Papa. Emma she. I see me. Bobo. Ejo. Everything. Christianity today, sir. Where is the virtue? Are we adding virtue? Do we add virtue? Only born again. We don't try to add good character. And that become an issue. Add knowledge to good character. Many just say, I'm born again. That is all. No good character, no knowledge. How can you grow? How can you know what to do and what not to do? How can you organize your life profitably when you are lacking knowledge of the truth? Titus chapter 1 verse 9. Holding fast the faithful words as he had been taught. Because that is what will sustain you. That is what has been sustaining me for years. That he may be able by sound doctrine. Disciples are people with sound doctrine. Both to exhort, that means to encourage, and to convince gainsayers. Where there's no knowledge, how can we convince people? How can we convince you about certain things if there's no knowledge? Teaching is to make you know something, to influence your mind, your thinking, your attitude positively into a profitable direction and a profitable disciple. If secular teaching can turn life around, a simple, ignorant village boy by teaching will be transformed to a medical doctor. But religious teaching don't change life. Truth change life. If secular teaching can transform somebody to an astronaut, transform someone to a pilot, why not teaching of the word transform you to a formidable person? Teaching of Christ turn Peter, illiterate man, to a formidable person and become pillar, foundation of Catholic Church. A fisherman becomes so formidable by the teaching of Christ that he imbibed. What has the teaching of the church done for you? Where is your transformation? Teaching is to make you aware of new information. New what? To acquire new knowledge that can help you become better and glorious. That's why I don't teach controversial messages. Because the reason why you are here is to make you a better person, to make you a glorious person. If you are useless before, the teaching of the church is supposed to make you useful. Transform you to a better person, a useful vessel. If you are poor before, the reason for the teaching, the church and prayer is to turn your poverty mentality to prosperity mentality. Now faith cometh by hearing sound word. If you are fearful and timid, and you always feel intimidated, the essence of the word is to cast out fears in your heart and create courage, boldness, confidence in you, in Christ, and become whom heaven has destined you to be. If you have fear, you fear witches, church teaching must drive away fear of witches from your heart. The book of Jeremiah, chapter 3, verse 15. And I will give you pastors according to my heart, which will feed you with knowledge and understanding. Knowledge of the good word. Are we here? Christian teaching is expected to affect and improve your character, your habits, and your behaviors, and transform you to a better, loving, righteous, cheerful, joyful, and useful person. That's what the church is. To build you into a bold, confident, powerful, courageous disciple. Not a timid and fearful disciple.